Christmas turned into a nightmare for an Arizona couple and their kids when one of their little boys went to sleep, then woke up struggling to breathe. The boy, named Ezra, is pictured here. He's being held by his father. He wound up needing to be airlifted to a hospital in Flagstaff, Arizona, where he was diagnosed with croup. It wasn't until days later when the family learned the 15-minute trip cost $47,000. That was a whole lot more than the company originally quoted, and the insurance would only cover $5,000 of that cost. After their story was shared through social media and on the news, the bill was settled for a smaller sum. Ezra, by the way, is back healthy.
I'm glad.